That cracks me up every time. Okay. All right. All right. It says that we're live. I'm going to give people just a couple of minutes to jump on. I know several people said that they're going to have to catch the replay because they're busy, and that's all good. And I just want to let everything pop up, make sure we're good and live. All right. So my name is Rebecca with the Santosha Way, and I am so super excited today to have guest Meli De Los Santos with us, and she is the Dreaming Yogi and a dream interpreter. First, I do want to ask you, like, how did you even get into this?
Well, thank you for having me here, first of all. It's a pleasure to chat with you and your group. Uh, for me, the way I got started with dream interpretation was with my own journey. Previous to this, I was an electrical engineer, working as a software engineer, and developed a lot of anxiety. I've always dealt with anxiety, but there came a time in 2015 where it was peaking. And not to get too deep right away, right off the bat, but I started noticing that I was having reoccurring dreams,
Mm,
even with the little bit of sleep I was getting, because I was an insomniac, I had panic attacks, I was agoraphobic, meaning I wouldn't leave my home. And those dreams were really, they were repeating dreams, the same theme, same, uh, same theme of it, being in a house that wasn't my own with boxes and like a nightmare type vibe. And
mhm.
just by understanding what that dream meant, like just that awareness of, what was causing all these anxieties, it started shifting and I became obsessed and studied it and just quit my job to do this full time.
Wow. Okay. So I have had reoccurring dreams throughout my life at certain points. Like every time I would start a new school, we moved a lot as a kid. And so when I would start a new school, I would have this nightmare about my new teachers. And it would be like a similar reoccurring nightmare every time, things like that. So reoccurring dreams, I guess, would be important, maybe deep fears going on or.
Yeah, so reoccurring dreams, all dreams are important. The way that I see it, every dream, even if it's random and just short clips, has an importance, right? It's trying to tell you something. It's a way that your unconscious is communicating with you. And then if you look at all the dreams, you can kind of puzzle piece it, to what makes you you, and kind of really get to a deeper understanding. Reoccurring dreams are those that happen. It can happen like every day for a period of time, every week, maybe once a year. I have some clients that come back around the same time of year because it's like, hey, this same type of dream is popping up. So it's just the repetition of a similar theme. It doesn't have to be exact, but it's some kind of deja vu that you've had that dream before. And it's not always something negative. I mean, I don't think even nightmares are meant to be negative. They're all for healing. But reoccurring dreams are just showing you what's really important to you. And it's a way that your unconscious is like nagging at you, like poking you, like, hey, Rebecca, remember this? We haven't dealt with this. We got to work on this. And the more dramatic it gets, the more it's like really pushing you to address whatever it is that you're either not aware of or that you're just pushing down, either unconsciously or consciously.
Okay. And so when you talk about healing work with our dreams, can you dig into that a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. So for me, like I'm a dream interpreter, like you mentioned, but I focus on a process I call dream healing, which is once you find the meaning of your dreams, it's not like just go to a book. Like I definitely suggest don't go to any dream dictionaries or Google. But once you understand what the dream means, then what? Then you take that message into your waking life so that you can transform your waking life through those dreams that came in. And that's why I've studied extensively different modalities. I'm certified in crystal healing, an astrologer, tarot readings, yoga, all the things, but with the intent to bring them all into like a customized protocol for the dreamer, that suits their needs. Because not everybody believes in crystals, not everybody likes essential oils, um, not everybody wants to do yoga, right? So you can
Right.
kind of use these different tools or different techniques that don't require tools that I've studied as well to bring in that message into your waking life. So, like a quick example would be there was a period of time that I was having dreams of ice, random ice, right? Like I totally didn't seem impactful. It was just one day I was dreaming that I was gonna have a party and I asked about the ice. Nobody had it. Okay, whatever. It seemed really random. I don't even think I bothered to write it down. But the next day I had a dream that I was so upset that they didn't get the ice that it was like the main theme of that dream. And so I started picking up on like, okay, well, breaking it down, ice is water that's hardened, water is emotions and, bottling up. So I was having hardened emotions towards, somebody. I believe I was probably going through a breakup at that time, if I'm not mistaken. And then the healing would be using rose and cardamom, which are essential oils that are good for like resentment and just easing the heart space. And then writing an angry letter that I then burned, to express what I wanted to say. So that's kind of how you can piece it together. And then some self-love yoga. I can get really deep with my rituals, but I try to simplify it for clients depending how, what works for them.
All right, so I'm writing down a couple questions. Um, but one thing that came to mind here was now, so you're saying all dreams technically are important because it's a communication, right? It's a form of like something communicating to us or our what is it, I guess. Let me have you explain it.
Yeah, so just think about it this way. During your day to day, our conscious mind is running the show. If you run into an encounter with somebody and you feel like maybe they said something and you're immediately like, ooh, that kind of was like a punch in the gut, or like it stabbed my heart what they said. And that is like your subconscious is picking up on that trigger, red flag, or that emotion. But then your conscious mind tends to downplay it, or maybe it's just me and it's like, they didn't mean it. I'm overreacting, like, and just kind of rationalizing it. Well, in your dreams, that same scenario, even if it wasn't super intense blowout, but in the dream, you can really see how you felt. If the conscious mind is asleep now, your unconscious is showing you what came up. Um, and usually we're not upset at the things we think we're upset of. It's like a trigger from something else in the past, and we can kind of unravel and follow those breadcrumbs to the root of it. So in the dreams, it's really going to show you your truth, your authenticity, what's really a brewing for you without downplaying it like the conscious mind does.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah. No, I've had actually had dreams where people are I feel like they were reaching out to me. Like my grandma had in my dream I was dreaming about her and her house and her it was underwater and we're standing there talking and she just seemed to be in a lot of pain or something was wrong. And then when I reached out to her in real life, she's like, "Yeah, I've been in a lot of pain, in my knees lately." And things like that. So I thought that was weird. Like, do people communicate with each other in the dream world then, like astro traveling type stuff?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I even got chills for that. There are different types of dreams, right? And you're a very spiritual person. So some people are more connected with the different aspects of dreams. And it can also be developed like your clairs, like, your intuition and all that stuff. So, and maybe I'm backtracking a little bit, but I like to start mentioning first, whoever's listening to this, to notice what your normal type dreams are. Like if you're always dreaming in black and white, or it's hazy, or you never see yourself, and that's kind of common, then you kind of make a mental note of that. Because then when you do have this one dream that is like so vibrant, or it looks like it's in a different era, or there's like an echo that's kind of different, then you'll notice that it's a different type of dream. And what I mean by that is the interpretation would be much different. Like if you were to just tell me that dream and I wouldn't consider how spiritual you are, your third eye being open, and all these other questions that I can ask, I can just assume it's a subconscious dream. and just be like, well, your grandma represents your inner feminine and like all this other stuff, as opposed to an actual spiritual connection there for
Mhm.
healing. And you, as you know, I'm guessing like a healer as well, that can provide support for her. So I don't know if that makes sense again.
It really does because you don't realize, at least I have not realized how um, different some of the dreams are, and so it's one of those things where I'm trying to pay more attention to that. Like, what was a message? What was me? Because some dreams I have, I'm like doing magic in my sleep. I'm being instructed. I'm in a classroom setting, and other dreams I'm just like literally. I watched a movie and it's playing out in my subconscious, like it's playing out in the dream world. I'm like, oh, that's from that show we just watched. So it's
Right, right.
interesting to kind of see how they are different. They can be very different, and yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what you mentioned right now about like communicating, there are some theories that we can meet people in our dream world, like our dream bodies can meet in the dream world. And I've heard some case studies of, you know, people connecting in that way and like waking up and then telling each other the dream. Or like in your scenario, you kind of sensed that and you saw that through your dream and she was actually experiencing it. One thing I like to do with dream healing is that if you have like an issue with somebody, like maybe a toxic relationship that ended or something that you're still holding on to and you can't see the person, you can kind of program to have that type of dream. And then, since the mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not, you can have that closure, say the things that you can't say in real life for whatever reason, and wake up with that sense of like, okay, I got it off my chest. And maybe they are seeing it if they're having that dream, but if you can't communicate with them, you wouldn't know. At least you're going to have that peace.
Right. Now, so would you suggest in a situation like that, if someone wanted to intentionally dream, whatever it is, they want to intentionally connect with someone or they want to intentionally astro travel or something like that, would you suggest that maybe they, like before they go to bed, they kind of, how would you set up your night before to kind of prepare yourself better? Would you write something out first or use some essential oils or crystals? I mean, what I mean, I feel like it's limitless how you could go with this depending on what works for you, but like, what are some great ideas for that?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that was done for ages called dream incubation, where they would go, dreamers would go to temples with priests and all sorts of things to really incubate the intention that they want, mostly for healing, like physical healing or some type of healing. And they would work with their dreams and with these priests in this isolated area to continuously have that dream and get that message and get that healing. So in our modern day society, we can do something similar, but just to keep it like super simple, definitely writing it right before bed would help. Crystals definitely do boost, and the essential oil as well. They I have like a bunch of crystal recommendations and oil recommendations that are for different types of dreams, to
Mm,
bring them forward, to work with them. And it's just that extra tool that some people may not need. Some people are more connected, you know, have their third eye more open, and some don't. But those who don't can still work with these tools and still practice. It's kind of like a workout for your third eye, for your mental facilities, to consistently be writing down that intention, um, writing down the dream they want to have with these tools. Because anything that you do right before bed, and if you keep repeating it as you are drifting, maybe playing out what that question is you have, you're kind of entering like a hypnotic state,
mhm, mhm.
and it's more chances that you're going to plant the seed into that dream that you want to have. But you have to be consistent with it. And if you get frustrated, since dreams are all about emotions, like any type of intense frustration, like, oh, what was that dream? I had it at the tip of my third eye or whatever, it's just going
Right.
to make it go away. So just being patient and consistent.
So, like anything, really, it's a practice that you have to develop
Right.
and intentionally work on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and I like the idea of just kind of setting yourself up for success with, maybe if you're using a particular oil or something like that, where it's like, okay, now I'm setting the scene for, it's kind of like I have a meditation chair, and when I sit in the meditation chair, it's just like an automatic, I start to relax because I've really set the scene for this chair to be my comfy, yummy space that I just melt into. So with practice, it just becomes so easy. So I'm thinking in the dream aspect, if you're just, if you really practice that and set that intention and hold that kind of container that this is the space, this is the time that I'm going to work with that. So I want to talk about dream journaling a little bit, but I do have a curiosity question because when the moon is in Pisces or when it's Pisces season, or like right now we have Jupiter in Pisces, my dreams go and they just get really like I remember them more. They're more intricate, things like that. So do you notice those things in your line of work, or is it kind of like everybody's their own person and everyone's unique?
Yes to both, because astrology, that's one of the things that I also mostly focus on, combining astrology to deepen that dream interpretation. So Pisces is known as the sign for dream work. Pisces and Neptune, right, are the dreamy sign and planet. And when it's highlighted with the moon having to do with, our emotions and triggers, it's really going to burst it open, and you're going to have more of those dreams and more of that vision. However, on the other side too, it also depends on your chart. So I always recommend looking at your chart with what's happening on top of it. It's called like transit astrology, seeing where it's highlighting in your chart,
Hmm.
because some people have more of that water element. A friend of mine that's also Pisces was telling me the same thing. So I'm always like asking, like, okay, well, what is your sign? Or I'm curious when I talk to clients that are saying, like, I'm noticing this now. And usually when I say, like, do you have some like major Capricorn or something? And if it's related to like work dreams, it usually associates like that. But we all have all the planets and all the signs. So it's just a matter to see where it's highlighting.
Right, right. That's so interesting. Um, because what I'm thinking is that, when Jupiter goes back into Pisces next year, because it is going to leave and then it come back, I'm thinking Pisces season next year is going to be like the time to really do a lot of dream work stuff. Like I feel like it's going to just be on full display or something, like super
Yeah.
heightened.
Jupiter is so expansive too, and wants that higher knowledge. So
Yeah.
definitely good time to bring out those journals and rewatch this video.
Right. So that's the next thing I want to ask you about is how can we work with dream journals? How can this help us with our dreams? What are like good questions maybe to ask? Um, I'm finding that writing my dreams down really helps me. Like the more I write, the more comes to mind, and the more descriptive I am with the writing, the more I'm like, oh wait, let me describe what color was it, what shade was it, what, just kind of really digging into the details helps me remember more and expand it more. And then I'm like, oh wow, that 2 minute of a dream that I thought I remembered actually expanded into this several pages of writing. But how can we really like work with all that?
Yeah, so I love that question, because I definitely recommend first in any type of dream work to start with that journal. What I like to do is like getting a journal that's just dedicated to dream work. I've done it before where I combine it with my personal journal, which I like as well, because I get to see, I just like color coordinate. I like to see what was happening and then what the dream was. But you can do something similar in just a dream journal, just maybe writing a couple of notes, like a little recap of the day. And before using it, like writing some type of dedication, like an intention that you have, or maybe like make up your own little prayer or affirmation that this journal is going to track your dream journey and, bring some insights.
I
So
love
having
that.
that and having a pin that's dedicated to that, energy transfers everywhere. So using the pen that you use for bills and then for your spiritual practice, probably not, the best
Yeah.
idea, unless that's all you have. I mean, better than nothing, right? But having that dedication and having it next to your nightstand is going to be really helpful, because the minute you have to get up and scramble for it, it's gone.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, just write what you remember. Exactly what you were saying, like any detail. Sometimes I have so many dreams that I have to kind of write themes of every one, and then I go into each one. And I do have like a free dream workbook to help those who don't remember their dreams, with prompts that can be used in your dream journal to just really get all the other bits and pieces that you may not have thought about, as you woke up. So definitely check that out.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. And we're going to have all your links and everything available, because this to me is, it's very fascinating to dig into the dream stuff. I was a psychology major, and I'm always like, how do people work, and what's underneath this, and what does this mean? I like to really dig into things. So the dream world is just one of those fascinating places, because I feel like it can be as expansive, actually more expansive than your waking state, because I feel like you can kind of go all over the place potentially and connect with people. Um,
And there's some cultures that say that we're actually living a dream life, and when we're dreaming, we're awake. So I love that kind of thought.
right. And I've also heard that, that when you're dreaming, like if you're dreaming about another person or whatever, like you're literally in those places, you're literally in another world in those moments, and you're actually having these conversations and stuff, like in what we would consider real life, but just another alternate world or reality type thing, which just kind of makes my mind go.
I know, it's, you can really rabbit hole. So I try to teach people like the basics, and then we can go and grow from there into more of that, those different types of dreams.
So, specifically, when you work with people, what sort of things what do you do? Do you just help them with dealing with their dreams and the healing work that comes up around that? I mean, can you dive in a little bit more about your specific role that you do, as like what and how you facilitate things and all that?
Yeah, of course. So in my dream healing sessions, one on one, we go over the dream. So they'll send me their dream, we talk over the symbols, and I ask a lot of questions to get their interpretation, because at the end of the day, what means something to me is going to be different to
Mhm.
them. So I facilitate that until they get that aha moment. And from there, we work on what tools they can use or what techniques and tips. Not everything requires, like I said, actual tools, right? But what kind of protocol they can use to address that emotion. Either working more with the feminine, if that was addressed, or worries or stress related things, we can kind of work with that. And like I said, since I have so many different backgrounds, I craft it into what I call like a dream healing session. But also what I'm most passionate about too is teaching people how to do this for themselves, because some dreams you just don't want to share to other people. And I just find so empowering to just be able to wake up, and just know what to do right off the bat, like,
Mhm.
which is what I want to help people be able to do, right? Create that connection with their unconscious so that they can uncover these root causes of anxieties or suppressed emotions and just transform their lives. So in my membership, we every month we go over a different modality. So right now we're talking about tarot, but next month we'll change the topic. And then we also have group dream interpretations and group moon ceremonies as well, where we can use the moon energies for our waking life, but then also have another session to dive into their dreams and help them with different dream activities. And yeah, so
That is so awesome. So, what can you tell us just a little bit more about the membership? Like, is it just like how much is it? What's, all the details, the yummy, juicy stuff?
all the juicy details. Yeah, so the membership is called the Dream Mystics membership. And it's really for like mystics or seekers that are interested in all the things. I know everybody says niche down and like just focus on one thing. And my thing is dreams, but I find that there is a space for all these different modalities. Even if you just use essential oils, which were huge in my journey away from panic attacks, even if you use just the oils to calm yourself during the day, or if you have a pain, pain will uh, affect your sleep as well, right? If you have like cramps or whatever. So I where was I going with this? Yeah, in the membership, I bring in what I call like holistic toolkit, right? So every month they get a workbook with prompts for whatever the topic is. They also get a workbook for like just reminding them how to use these tools, checking in with themselves, how they're using the specific tool for their practice. Like when we used mudras, like what mudra did you use this week, and just really helping them, stay accountable. And the way it works is every month we have a topic, but at the end of the month, the topic goes away so that we're not scattered, right? Because when you have all these interests, it can get overwhelming by wanting to learn all the things. So I wanted to keep everybody kind of really focused on the topic, as well as I do a lot of daily prompts, either on the topic of the month or dream related topics that we kind of create that discussion. There's a library of meditations as well, and also weekly card pulls that I do for the group just to help them also with their journaling and seeing what's coming up, what messages come through those cards. So yeah, so it's a lot of stuff. Like all of that is like detailed in my site, thedreamingyogi.org. But it's a beautiful community. I mean, I love connecting with them through Zoom. Everybody's from across the world. And
yeah. So this would be something that even someone could just pop in for 1 month and get a feel for it. And then if it's not for them, they can go ahead and step out, or they can keep going. Because
whenever.
month it's a little different. So
yeah, and actually, if you join today, you can get the stuff of the tarot and then the next topic. So
okay, so it's kind of like a revolving, 30-day cycle or something like that. If you like, I know mine is one of those things where if you were to join today is like the 20, what is it? The 27th. So it would run through the 27th. Does it do like that, or is it a
yeah, so when you join, your like billing is per month, right? Whenever you join the next month. The way that I set it up, since everybody joins at different times, is at the first of the month is when the new content comes in and the old content gets retired. We also have like different rooms. So I really want to support people. We have a book club, for whenever somebody wants to host it. It's more member led. But we also have a health and fitness area for people who want to do yoga challenges together. We also have a business area, which is the one that I provide more insights in, because, there's other spiritual healers too that want to do certain things similar or bring more consciousness to the world. So I'm just sharing my experiences there, what I've learned, and how, learn from my mistakes is one of the series that I started. Like, don't do this or do it, but this is what I learned the hard way.
right, right. Okay. I'm not really seeing that anyone is here like with any questions or anything. So do you have any like final thing that you'd really like to tell us that's maybe like important to know, or any like these are reoccurring dream things that would be good to whatever find any final notes that you have for us?
Any final notes? And a question that I get asked often is, why do we even want to do this work, right? Like I mentioned the healing, I mentioned the how and stuff, but why? And not only is it about really understanding yourself, and this carries over to your waking life, you'll be able to acknowledge your triggers more, so you don't have to have those drastic dramatic dreams and go through this long process. You could in the moment start recognizing them and creating that balance between the conscious and unconscious. But aside from that, there's so much more that can be done. Problem solving, seeing which direction to take if you're torn between different paths, really seeing who's affecting you, who may not be in your best interest, and also get some like even forecasting, like prophetic dreams that I believe we've talked about before. So there's so much that can come from it. And the only thing I would say is just starting simple, right? You can get my free workbook and start remembering the details. Even if you remember your dreams, I'm sure some other detail will come up. Because I also added some tips for those who don't have a lot of time in the morning. I know this can sound excessive, like, okay, you're journaling and you're processing and all that.
Hmm.
But I added stuff like that, and also for those who don't like journaling to begin with. So it's jam packed with stuff. And just starting there, just getting that journal and having that intent that you're going to start paying attention to your dreams will unlock so much that it'll just unravel from there.
So I do have one final question. So I can go, I can have dreams that I remember, and then I'll go days where I just don't remember anything. If I were keeping a dream journal, is it in my best interest to continue writing in it every day, even when I don't have a dream, just to say, I really don't remember anything last night. I slept soundly, just to kind of keep me in the routine and habit of doing it because I was keeping a dream journal. And then I got out of the habit of it because I quit having dreams for a couple of days. And then I would have one and be like, oh, well, it wasn't that big of a dream, so I'm not going to write it down. And then I just sort of got out of the practice and I'm like, oh, I got to get this going back again. So,
Right.
what are the ways to kind of really keep it going? And what's the best way to handle it when you don't have a dream?
Right. So, a little question for your question. If you had a friend that would stop picking up your phone calls, would you continue calling?
It depends. I might not,
Okay.
right? I would probably not so often, but then maybe every once in a
Once
while
in a
check
while
back in.
on their birthday. Yeah. So that's kind of how I see dreams, as like our friend, right? Ourselves. Well, definitely part of ourselves, but it's like a friend that's trying to communicate something with you. So when you're not having those dreams, it's going to make it easier for you to stop remembering your dreams, if that makes sense. Like, you are, if you're developing this practice and things happen, right? It can be if you're taking a type of medication, or if you had a late night, if something shifted. Like, there's so many reasons why a dream can, um, you may not have dreams for a couple of days. But if you just kind of leave the journal, leave that communication away, then your mind is not going to know to retain that information. So just by writing, I didn't remember anything. That's like the first thing that I suggest for dream recall. Continue writing that. Just say you didn't remember, and adding that piece of, but this is how I woke up, this is how I'm feeling. And you could even take it a step further to just like take like maybe 2 to 3 minutes to tap in and say, I didn't remember a dream, but I feel rested, or I woke up with a headache, kind of still piece together.
Mhm.
And then if you get that workbook that I mentioned, you can just kind of go through the prompts. Usually something will spark up, even if it's just a color, a sensation, or a time of day.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You.
I'm like super duper excited. I have not gotten your workbook, but I definitely want to download that and get that. And I'm definitely gonna go ahead and commit back to doing just even if I'm just writing like I don't remember what I dreamt about last night. Because I really started having some nice, yummy dreams that I could really dig into and ask questions around. And I was having a lot of fun with it. And I really want to cultivate that. I feel like it's going to be a big next aspect in my life personally. So I'm super excited. You're gonna be one of my mentors.
Oh, I love that. I'd be honored.
You're one of my mentors. So I do have your website link already, and then I can get your Facebook group link in the
Yeah.
comments, and any other information that you feel like would be helpful for us to know, the workbook, any of that. So everyone can connect in with you because I know that when I joined your Facebook group and I posted about one of my dreams, you just asked me like the most simple question, and I was like, oh, and it really got my brain going, and it really helped me just develop it into like understanding what it really meant and piecing it together more. And I loved that you do turn it back on the person and go, well, what about this? And it's like, you're not just telling me your opinion of what it means, because that's so important when we are unique and we all have our own unique perspectives. And I really appreciated that. It was so beneficial to me. So, thank you for being here, and I am so excited to. I'm definitely. I want to look into your membership and all that too, because that's like, I'm
You're
like,
gonna love everyone in there.
I'm like, yay. Okay, so I don't think I have anything else unless you have something else.
I mean, I think I've talked everyone's ear out, but I'd love to continue connecting. And I mean, I do a lot of Instagram stories where I'll randomly talk about a dream question I got. So definitely check
Okay,
out
and I do
the
have your
platform.
Instagram link here too. So if anyone has any questions at all, and for whatever reason, if you can't get in touch with Melly, I will get you in touch with her. Just let us know so we can get everybody connected and really start diving into those dreams and our, you know, subconscious and what it's trying to tell us and communicate with us, because I think that's important. I think it's all important. Like everything is meaningful and useful, and like it's all here to help us, right? So,
So yeah,
all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hit the end, and thank you so very much.
thank you. Bye.